From wealthy to poor neighborhoods, cars and car parts were stolen at rates that shocked even the authorities during the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. And even though the causes are complex, law enforcement, insurance analysts, and mechanics all think it has something to do with the effects of COVID-19 and the sky-high price of precious metals found in catalytic converters. Car theft leaves owners with thousands of dollars in repairs and higher insurance costs and, of course, the price of a new car. A catalytic converter theft can keep a car stuck in a shop for days, even weeks, and can be expensive to replace. So, what can we do about it? How can car owners protect themselves? Can cars be made more theft-resistant? We've seen a 9.2% increase in auto thefts between 2019 and 2020. The National Insurance Crime Bureau, or NICB, measured 873,080 thefts throughout 2020. That's over 73,000 more than the 799,644 that was seen in 2019. The recent trend is unusual because for several years, until 2020, we've actually seen a decline in auto thefts. So the increase in 2020 is just bizarre. And looking further into the data reveals that certain kinds of vehicles are targeted more than others, and some states experience more auto thefts than others. The top states being California, Texas, and Florida, with the top vehicles for auto thefts being Ford pickups, usually the F-150 and F-250, Chevy pickups, Honda Civics, and Honda Accords. COVID-19 has also changed the types of crimes being committed. Because many of us are now working from home, there's been an increase in the burglaries of unoccupied businesses and commercial buildings during 2020. We also saw a decrease in residential burglaries in 2020 because everyone is now home during the day, which is when burglars are usually most active. It's the same thing we're seeing with car thefts. Because we're all at home now, auto thefts take on the form of opportunistic street crime. A car thief will steal a car and take it for a joyride or use it to commit another crime, but the more high-end cars in coastal cities are targeted by more sophisticated crime networks. Being near the coast makes it all the more easier for a stolen car to end up in a shipping container bound for another country. There is a short window of time for stolen cars to be recovered, but that all depends on the type of theft and the time of day it was taken. If the theft occurred at 2 in the morning, burglars won't be in a rush to get it out of the area because they think you're sleeping. They might even use it to commit other crimes. But if the theft occurs during regular working hours, like during the daytime, they will want to get that car out of sight as soon as possible, because it's more likely the owner will see that their car is gone and call the cops. Carjackings are also increasing at alarming rates, with 100% to sometimes even a 300% increase in cities like Chicago, Minneapolis, New Orleans, Kansas City, and Washington State. Increasing auto theft rates cost insurance companies millions, which are then passed on to customers in their premiums. Louisiana, Michigan, and Washington, D.C. have the highest insurance rates according to the Insurance Information Institute. And least expensive states are North Dakota, Maine, and Iowa. Rates vary widely between states, especially when moving from a city to a small town. The average yearly cost of insurance in Louisiana is $1,545.82, whereas in North Dakota the average yearly cost is $686.08, almost 56% cheaper. People don't just steal cars for joyrides anymore. Catalytic converters contain valuable precious metals, and these bad boys are required in every car sold in America since 1975. They work by filtering pollutants out of the vehicle's exhaust, by allowing the exhaust to pass through a honeycomb flecked with small deposits of precious metals like rhodium, palladium, and platinum. These metals cling to carbon monoxide, hydrocarbon, and nitrous oxide and reduce noxious emissions. Catalytic converters in cars are more important now than ever before in helping to reduce the emissions released by the vehicle, as emissions regulations around the world have increased. Tony Nguyen runs a repair shop in San Jose, California. And in March 2021, he said that he had never seen so many catalytic converters stolen. Over a 6-month period, Nguyen would see around 10 cars every month with missing catalytic converters coming into his auto repair shop. Catalytic converters contain precious metals. The automotive industry accounts for about 80% of the global demand for rhodium and palladium and 40% of the global demand for platinum. South Africa is the world's leading supplier of mined minerals, but in 2020 production fell by 11% compared to 2019, mainly due to COVID-19 lockdowns, high labor costs and challenges related to deep-level mining. About 80% of rhodium comes from South Africa and supplies have been low. At one point in December 2020, platinum cost $1,061 per ounce. Palladium came in at $2,336 per ounce. And rhodium is valued at a whopping $14,500 per ounce. With prices of these precious metals so high, you can imagine just how much criminals value catalytic converters. A thief can remove a catalytic converter from a car in just a few minutes. All they need is a battery-powered saw and nowhere to cut. Then they sell the parts for anywhere between $50 and $250. And the car owner is left with a vehicle that isn't street legal and sounds as loud as a NASCAR. In 2020, the average monthly thefts were 1,203. A massive increase from the 282 average monthly thefts in 2019 and 108 per month in 2018. In 2020, California, Texas, Minnesota, North Carolina and Illinois had the highest number of recorded catalytic converter thefts. The pace of thefts only increased throughout the year. In January of 2020, there were 652 incidents, but by December there were 2,347. By May of 2021, 45 bills were introduced across 23 states to fight the rise of catalytic converter thefts. Bills have already been passed in Indiana, Tennessee and West Virginia. The thing about catalytic converter thefts is that replacing them is expensive. The converter itself is expensive because the price of precious metals is so high, and mechanics can't just add in a new one. No, they have to replace the entire exhaust system, and that including cutting and replacing pipes. Added to that is how long it takes for certain parts to come, and with the pandemic slowing down supplies, car owners can expect to be waiting for months. The Toyota Prius is especially targeted by thieves. Because the car is a hybrid, it has two catalytic converters right next to each other. And because the car uses electric power, the converters are less used. Large gas guzzlers are targets too, along with any other car with a high enough ground clearance for thieves to be in and out as quickly as possible. Cars with big engines are also targeted because the bigger the engine, the bigger the catalytic converter. So how do we stop the problem? And what exactly are the causes in the first place? Well, that's a hard one to answer. But some of the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic can be part of the reason for the increase in thefts. The pandemic has caused increasing unemployment. There's a lack of opportunity for the youth, schools closed down, social service organizations that are shut down. All of these things lead to desperation amongst the less fortunate, and desperation leads to crime. So how can we fix the problem? With more community support resources. We need to make sure we are engaging with the community. We need to ensure they have access to employment, access to online school, and we have to support them. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that crime rates rise and fall, along with the issues in society, and if we can provide them with options and social services to support them, then maybe we can begin to reduce these types of thefts. What can people do to protect themselves from car-related thefts? Well, there's basic things like making sure to lock your door and parking in well-lit areas, and you can get some kind of anti-theft device. Also, try not to leave your keys in the car. Law enforcers say that the era of remote access key fobs that don't need to be inserted in the ignition has become a problem because drivers leave their keys inside the car and thieves know the signals that a key fob might be in the vehicle and use that opportunity to take your car. Car owners can also rely on car alarms or other warning systems. Smart keys, fuse cutoffs, kill switches, starter ignition and fuel pump disablers and wireless ignition authentication are all ways in which you can protect your car from car thieves. And even in the event your car does get stolen, it can still be located remotely with services like General Motors OnStar service. For catalytic converter theft, car owners can consider parking in enclosed or locked garages and installing anti-theft devices. Our security plates, that require a unique tool to unscrew them, can be installed by mechanics to protect the catalytic converter. As long as the price of precious metals remain high, catalytic converter theft will also be high.